Hi, welcome to Amar General Input channel. Today I will be sharing with you Angular Technical Lead mock interview. If you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and keep watching. Hi Raja.
Hi,
Hi.
Gopals.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
So,
Yeah. So can you tell me about yourself?
yeah, listen, myself, Raja. So, I'm currently working in the Infosys. So, the overall experience of the IT is 7.5 years. So, I'm working for the UI technologies like Angular, HTML, JavaScript in the last 4 years.
Okay.
So the Infosys are the 3.5 working in the Infosys. So current projects I'm working for that healthcare domain that is the insurance project. So we are using that Angular 10 in this project. So currently we are working for the 6 months in the project.
Okay.
My role is that technology lead in the project.
Good. Okay. Currently you are working with Angular 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You have any idea about like latest Angular, like Angular 13?
So the new versions is back, but I'm checking that on
Okay.
right now.
So okay.
This project started like 1 year before. That's why they're making still
Fine,
keeping
fine.
it that 10 only.
Just I ask awareness purpose only. So
No problem. No problem.
okay, okay. So what are the features released in Angular 10? You aware of that one?
So Angular 10, they are using for that TypeScript version that 3.9 for that Angular 10.
Okay.
So they are using conversion pre-IVA code, so
Okay.
compiler update,
Okay.
and then TypeScript linked version they are using for the version 6 mode.
Okay.
So there is the new one for that new data range picker in that Angular 10 and boost in NGG performance.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Fine. So can you tell me how Angular internally it's working? So can you explain the internal flow?
So while running the application.
Yeah, while running the application, how internally it's called like how it is internally called like main.ts like that.
Okay, so while we're running the application, so first we will load that Angular.json file.
Okay.
So there will be defined that which file will be loaded.
Okay.
Like that index my index main.ts in that Angular JSON.
Okay.
So in that main.ts we have using that bootstrapping model. So bootstrap that application.
Mm-hmm.
So where there we have to use the define the bootstrapping model that function method. Inside we have the app component.
Mm-hmm.
So which component will be loaded the first.
Mm-hmm.
So once that app component is loaded, so then that HTML file will be triggered into the browser. The app component will be loaded. So in the app component we have defined all that components and the other things whatever the components we have created.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that we have defined the app component in that HTML files whatever we can assign that like any components we have import. So we have display in the browser.
Fine. Okay. So we have for example a real-time scenario. So we have initially scratch itself we start one application like patient management system. So in the patient management system we have many modules like login module, then patient history module, then surgery module. So a lot of module is there. So I want to assign login module. So then how did you start and how did you authenticate like authorized the patient? Then how did you start this module? Can you explain me?
So for that login module, right? So user can enter that user credentials, so we can validate with the backend.
Okay.
So backend, there's a way how getting that JW token for authorization. So based on the JW token, we have the details like the user details and the user roles. So what are the user has to access that all the roles is contained in that. So based on the roles, we have to given the access for the modules.
Okay. So after successful login, you should authenticate a successful user. How did you like store the session time and session variable token? Then where you should maintain those things?
So the session we are maintaining for that timer, like that we are using the once the user logged in, so we
Okay.
can keep it in that local storage right now. We have meeting the data in the local storage.
Okay.
So there is that we have checking for that user access in
Okay.
that op modules, that app component, root component.
Mhm.
So we are checking that user interactions, so if that user interactions they are available or not. So if the user is not interacted that 30 minutes, we have to give an alert of user not interacted like that.
Mhm.
And then that is that we are saving that the token in the local storage right now in the browser cookie only. We are accessing that any one of the applications. We are getting that we are reading the cookie only. Set the cookie and read the cookie values from the JWT token. That access modules, that roles, everything.
Okay. Good. Fine. So after successful login, then how did you differentiate like a different user like patient and patient admin? So patient admin want to show some restricted menu, then user want to show some restricted menu. Then how did you differentiate? How did you authenticate those routing menus?
So yeah, in the routing card we have certain kind of router that some routing cards to validating the roles, right? So after accessible login, we have that roles for that. What are the roles and responsibilities for the current users?
Mm-hmm.
So we have the roles. What are the that users? What are the modules able to access? So
Mm-hmm.
based on that module, we have to enable, or other things we have to hide that menu.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. So so in the Angular provides the some of the building blocks like ng module. So providers bootstrap. So what is that bootstrap?
That bootstrap is that like how okay we are bootstrapping the application. So in that bootstrap model, which model we are going to that first loaded in the application, bootstrapping the model.
Okay.
So which model we have to run that first.
Okay. Providers.
Providers we are using to write some, we are using some services, right? So across the applications sharing the business logic and functions, everything we have multiple components.
Okay.
So we are using that service, we can inject the service in the provider to use across the application.
Okay. Good. Okay. So what's the difference between template or ng template?
ng template.
Yeah, ng template.
So primarily we use the TNG template, right? So some of that container we are using in that template. So based on that, like one of how to tell that. So one of grouping of the templates we are using that inside the template. We have the access to using that NG condition.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what is the usage of shared module?
Shared module you can using, right? So yeah, some data we have to access the top across the applications, right? So if I am have the one component, so I want once that I am updating some data, right? So once that updated data immediately the data should be some actions for the other child component. So we are using that shared module so that I can using the behavior subject. So we can using the subscription to subscribe the data immediately. Once in that set it observable that I want to subscribe, so immediately add some things the other component as well.
Okay. Okay. So have you worked any like shared library?
Shared library.
Yeah, you know, aware of at least awareness. Just I'm asking you, are you worked any shared library?
I'm not. I'm not aware, but we are using only for that observer and behavior subject in the RxJS library.
Okay, okay. Not observable, then shared library. Yeah. So one of the
No.
key concept. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So what is the difference between like package.json and package.log.json?
So package.json, so we have that like contain the dev dependence and dependency and then script. So dependency have that what are the dependency we are using the current application. So dev dependencies so it should be automatically created whenever the installing that application. So all the dev dependencies be like that what are the Angular version, TypeScript version other than that. So we have the script section in that package.json like when building that application, so we can given that build command that test case command execute test case everything. So these are the conditions of the package that contains that dependency of the application. So like the package that log JSON file, so it should be created one that having that npm installed, so creating the node module, so they are updating the nodes, so it's automatically created the log files. So the main thing is they're using that versions, like in the package that they have the define the versions, but package log, what is the exact versions they are using that define in the package log JSON file.
Okay. So Angular provides some lifecycle hooks. So what is the usage of ng on changes and ng after view in it?
After ng on changes, like that, it's that life cycle should call before the ng on in it.
Okay.
So we are using that some child component, right? So any of the input values have been updated, passed that in the input parameters, that time the ng on change should be called. So that after viewing it, right? Yeah, that after viewing it, so this method should be called once that component or child view instance when the call view will be loaded.
Okay. So what is the event emitter?
So event emitter, basically we have to we are in that we have the child component. So we are in the child components, we have to click on some event, so that based on that we have to do something in that parent component. So we can call in the function to the parent component from other component. So using that event emitter to call the parent child from the child to parent.
Okay.
Like we are using that output that output decorator.
Okay, fine. So are you use pipes?
Yeah.
Can you explain? So what are the pipes then?
So pipes we are basically used like so loading the template. So we have to, before load the template, we have to manipulate or transform some data to display in that template. We are using pipes. So like that we are using that uppercase, lowercase, decimal number, JSON, like that, or else we have to create some custom pipes to using that like some transform manipulations.
Okay. So in the pipes, is it possible to create some custom pipe?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So in the RxJS library, so they provide some like a lot of some types, like observable,
Yes.
then scheduler, subject. So what is observable?
So observable, mainly we are using that emit that multiple value, like we are calling that observable, it's holding that value. So it's mainly used while before it's not executed immediately while until we have used the subscriber functions. So once we have the observable data, emit the value immediately to the subscription.
So what is subscribe method?
So subscribe method, we have to maintain the data in the observable, right? So whenever that we want to the data in the observable, we have to subscribe to get the data from the observable. It's emit while using the subscribe. So observable emit that value immediately to the subscriber.
Okay. So in the router link, so I want to pass like instead of query param, I want to pass JSON object. Then how did you pass the JSON object? In the query param itself. Go ahead.
So we have that option, the router navigation method, right? So we have the pass that state from like the set object, like that second argument to passing that instead of the query parameter, you can directly get that params.
Okay. So how did you handle like error in our application?
That whole asking the whole application?
Yeah, whole application. So how did you maintain like errors? So for backend itself, they are given different status like 200, 400. So based on the status, how would you shown in the UI like error messages? So invalid login like that.
So we are handling that message, right? So we are using that server call. We have that callback function like that ARR in the subscription.
Okay.
So inside we have got the some inside we have in the error section the callback function we have got the error from the backend what are the error. So based on that we have to show the some like that so the errors to the user in the application.
Okay. So earlier we discussed like we have patient management project. So initially we designed some form like patient registration form or patient add form. So after successful login, admin can able to add patient details, new patient details. So how did you like validate your form? So any specific
So
framework you have used?
So in this case, we are using that reactive form storing that form group on form controls and the validations that already we have the inbuilt, right? So
Okay.
we have to create that the forms using the form control and form group. So they are validating that the record and the validations everything. So like that we are using some regex patterns to validating that email and phone number. Or else we can create like that email and phone number like the number only numeric field on like that. So we have to create the custom directive to use that directive across the applications wherever we need like that numeric and email validations.
Okay. So we started development using Angular 2 or 3 like that. So after so many years completed, the clients wants to migrate like Angular 13 or 10. So what are the necessary steps we have to follow to migrate latest versions? So obviously it provides some deprecation. So what are the necessary steps
Yeah.
we have to follow to my successfully migration? Yeah, good.
So I don't have the experience in like that in the migration. So we have to create that new versions, create that set up other new versions to move that all the needed that like JSON, sorry, CSS and images, and then component to that new version.
Okay. So I want to update like Angular CLI latest. What are the commands we have to execute?
We have the npm update.
No, I want to update Angular CLI only.
Yeah, we can have the ing update. So injected Angular CLI, or else we can directly we can given that npm Angular CLI that and after that we have given that exact version what version we have needed. So directly we can install that version using that npm install that Angular CLI, and then in the end of that one we have given that at that version. Which version is on?
Okay, good. Okay. So what is the use of HTTP module?
So HTTP module mainly we are using to handle that backend service called HTTP client, right? So post, get, and put methods, so we can interact with that backend server.
Okay. Okay, fine. So are you used which design, like material design or bootstrap design?
Right now we are using the Bootstrap. We are using material in the previous project.
Okay, so you have experience material also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know material design stepper. So
Material design stepper.
yeah, stepper. I think I want to huge form. I want to split it out one by one, page one once, step by step. You know, one, two,
No,
three, like
sorry,
that. Okay.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. So I want to get it some details and shown in the dialog model. Then, so what are the things needs to follow?
So there is that inbuilt model that that math model is using that right. So like the Bootstrap model, we can creating that HTML files that that one of the component. So after that, the component will be loaded. We get that component will be imported in the empty component sections. So that component will be we click on the button. So inside the button we have that model the dialog that open, right? So method that model reference model dialog. We are using that material. So we are calling that my dialog that open inside that we are passing that component. So I am passing the component along with that passing the whatever data we need in the component. From there we can pass the data as well, like the object also. We can get it using that in the model we have getting to use the model reference, so we can get the data using the model reference.
Okay, good. Okay, so I want to add a different type of tab. Then how did you design tab? Material tab group. Yeah, good. Sorry.
Yeah, we have the tab group. Sorry, tab, right? Internet tab. So material.
Okay.
So you're using that tab or like to that like we have it in like the same thing, but I'm not sure that I'm forgettable because I maybe before I used it. So like we are bootstrap tab is there same thing we use that mat tab.
Okay, anyway that would be fine. Bootstrap or material. Okay, you can go ahead, no issue. Okay, fine. Okay, so on real-time scenario, okay, so we want to design like a dependent drop down. So the first drop down is the country, second drop down is the state, the third one is the district. So each one dependent in the one by one. So I want to fetch the records first country by default. So based on the country like US based, then states, then state based, district. So then how did you design, how did you pass the
So
values?
okay, first of all we have to for the NG on it we have to call that one first if I getting that countries list.
Okay.
So once I select the country, so again using the and change model, so change function that event. So once it select that country, we have to pass that country code through the backend to get that list of states based on the country.
Okay, good.
So then we can load display the drop downs for all the states. So user get try to select the states. So we have to same thing. We have to call that event or change event to go to click call the functions. Inside the function we have to call that API to pass that state code to get the list of district based on the state.
Okay, good. So I want to show overall patient records and patient analysis to through admin side. So I want to design some dashboard kind of things like bar chart, pie chart, or some other.
Sorry, Amresan.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Voice is breaking. Sorry to interrupt. Can you repeat one second?
Yeah, wait. Yeah, once we have developed complete patient management portal, so in the admin side wants to show some dashboard things like bar chart, pie chart, and some analysis. So which dashboard framework you have to apply? Are you applied any like dashboard frameworks?
We are not applied any dashboard framework. Just these things we are using that I think W3C framework we are used previously, but not sure that we are using one of the framework.
Okay.
I think W3C we are used to handle that chart by chart everything based on that user activities, that patient details, that other things, what are the actions, and then chatting, everything that display in that dashboard.
Okay. So because so many dashboard frameworks available like iChart, D3 charts. So okay.
Yeah.
You are aware of that one, right? So
Yes.
obviously dashboard required every portal. So,
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So on real-time scenario in the using TypeScript, okay. So we have backend. They are given like a lot of the patient list. Okay, each patient JSON object contains like patient name, patient role, patient ID, patient age, like that. So I want to get it only patient name, so appending with comma separator and shown in the some page. So how did you?
Sorry, we are getting the patient list from the backend, like the patient name, everything.
Getting the patient list in the backend. So in
Okay.
the each patient objects contains like patient ID, patient name, like
Okay.
that. So I want to get it only patient name and appending with comma separator in the single string and shown in the binding in the UI.
So all the patient list will be that comma separator binding in the UI for the patient name.
Yeah, only patient name. I don't want to other details like patient ID, age, like that. I don't want. So I want
So
to,
all the patient.
yeah, all the patient. For example, 10 patients came in the list. Okay,
Okay.
so I want to get it only 10 patient name appending with comma separator.
So all the people's name should be shown in the comma separator.
Yes.
Oh. So in this way we have to use that uh, mapping to iterate that object to pushing all the values to that one in a single array. So that single array should be displayed in the template using that join method. In the join method, we have to pass that comma. So that array values, that name of list of patient name is available in the array. So that array dot join, you can give it that comma, so that all the patients should be displayed in that comma separator.
Okay, good. So same like, so I want to we have patient, a number of patients, for example like your name. Okay, Raja. So we have so many Rajas. I want to find a duplicate Rajas. Then how did you find duplicate Rajas in the patient list?
So here we have to use that one thing, have the filter function. So filter, based on that, we can using the filter. Inside the filter, we can given the return statement like that. Name should be written that using that index. We have that available. That we have the checky that, right. So if you want that filter, get this new array with the duplicate names, or you want to remove the duplicate name.
Okay, fine. So apart from that, in the TS, what is enum? TS TypeScript enum. TypeScript enum, aware of?
EMM.
ENUM.
EMU, enumeration. UMU or enum?
ENUM, enumeration, yes. Correct.
Yeah, enumerations. So enumerations is the thing. So we have defined that values in that enumeration. But I think we are not used it in the project level.
Okay.
But I think it's not changing that. Reassigning the values. We are not reassigning the values like that.
Okay, good. What is any type? Any data type?
So any data type, it should be, we have defining any variables using the any, we can assign any type of the values like a string, a number, object, array, everything.
Okay. So the TypeScript, so it is object oriented programming. So what is interface?
So interface, we are using that group of related properties and methods that are like the group of related object properties and methods to that or the class. So whenever we have to pass that some data structure to the backend, like that, we are passing the patient, like the patient details, patient name, phone number, email, and then patient ID, everything. So here we have to define that patient ID and phone number is that numeric, and the other things the string. So if I am passing these details to the backend, so if I am assigning to any of the value, or I am defining that ID is the number. So if I am going to assign that ID number to be a string, it throw the warning mail or throw the warning message to the user. If it is only this should be the numeric, we are not able to assign that string value. So we have defined the interface in that modules. So we can access that modules to that. We can using that like that object, like our variables colon that interface name, we can assign the values. So like same thing, we have to fetching the values from the backend as well. So where the backend values, we are getting the person details. That person detail structure should be coming like this way. So if it is not, we have it's throwing error.
Okay. So are you worked any like inheritance concept in your project, like in extends to one component to another component?
No,
Inheritance concept. Okay, that's fine. Just awareness, no issue.
Yeah. Inheritance, we have that base class and builder class to that inherit that features from one another, but I are not using in the currently I are not used in that project level.
Okay. So how did you like maintain like language support in your application, like English, Hindi, French? So customer
Sorry,
wants to.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. I saw that multiple applications like that, but I don't have opportunity to develop like projects right
This
now.
is final thing only. Just I'm asking you. Okay, fine.
Yeah, because maybe there is some library. I'm not sure that one.
Okay. There is I18N one framework available, so that's fine. No issue.
18N.
Yeah. I18. That is
Yeah,
localization. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I learned something that was all.
Yeah, fine. It's okay. Everybody should not know. It's okay, fine. Okay. So, are you aware of any like UI testing, like Karma or Jasmine?
Yeah, we are using that Karma for Jasmine in that writing that unit test code in that Angular.
Okay. So what are the steps we have to follow and execute? Any idea?
So first thing, if you want to run any single applications and the single spec file, so that's we have that spec file while creating the component, right? So that component we have that spec file. So if you want to run the any single spec file, we have to define the path. In that we have the test.ts file in that root folder. We can defining the path, or else we have using that descript, that fdescript. We can put that, we have the descript function in that spec file. Just we have to put in that fdescript. So that file test cases won't be executed. The other test cases will be skipped. So we have to import all the necessary dependencies, like whatever dependency we have used in the component level. So we have to import that dependency in that spec file as well. So what are the dependencies needed, like that router testing modules, like HTTP client testing modules, like that. So whatever the dependency they needed, we can import that in the spec file as well. So we can doing the test. So we can executing the test case one by one. First, we have the defaultly we have the function that should component created, that one of the test cases is the default available. So once that everything we have imported, so that test case will be executed. After that, we have to start that our test cases based on the functionality.
Okay, good. Okay, so the final thing. So once you completed your application development. So finally, we want to build our application. So once give ng build, then what happened internally, then so what are the necessary steps you have to follow?
So we have the build, right? So we have defining that ng build, we have defining that build file. So command. So build the applications to entire applications to build, and creating the dist folder. To inside the dist folder, we have that files, all the files like the index.html, some JS files, like the build files. So is that folder we have defined in that angular.json file, like that which folder we have to follow. So the dist folder. So we have to create any inside the dist folder. We have to define that path in that angular.json file. So once the build is completed, so the dist folder will be created, and that in the dist folder we have the files included in other JS files.
Okay. Inside dist folder, what files we have?
Index.html and some JS files.
Okay. So it is converted into JavaScript. Yeah, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So are you involved any deployment part, like any?
Currently, we are using Emerson. So we are using the CI/CD pipeline. So Jenkins, and that I use it deployment on of that path, the QA path, and another one QA path we are using it like one is the one path we are using UC deployment, one path we are using Octopus. So we are using the CI/CD path. So we are, but the developers are defaultly they can merge the code in the development branch only, and merge the code, and they can test the PR. So my like my architecture going to review that PR, that code, review the code. So if it is that code is there, everything is good. So they can architecture going to the merge the code. Once code merge to that development branch to QA branch, so that Jenkins automatically start the build. So once the build is done, that UC we have the UC deployments. Just you have go to the UC deployment. Just you have click on that build that button. So we have that like that play button is there like. Same look, right? So you say click on the play button. So there is that we can define which path we have to in deployment. So like the QA path or a UAT path like that. So we can click on the any path. So it should be automatically deploy the code in that path.
Okay, good. So the finally just asking for are you worked any like animation kind of things?
Animations means
Like
combination.
yeah, like some stylish like material card, some alignment. I want to shape like that. I don't want to
So
square shape. I want to different yeah like that.
using the CSS.
Using CSS, I like that same right. If animation kind of things, you apply CSS only right.
We are using that, and we are not using that animation in that project level. So there is the only one module. Just we have to just like one arrow should be going to back and front, like that one animations we have done. That animations just user to just user visibility. If you want that new user, just going to click here to register your things. Like that, we have given the one button. So we are given that one arrow. Just here, and that arrow should be just like the play move around back front to back to back, back to front to back like that. Just you can like some blinking like that we have done for that only one things in that current project.
Okay, good. So you develop complete application using one default theme. So customer wants to change some other theme. Then how could you change in your application per theme? By default
So
using
theme.
blue theme. So we want to change like pink or some other color in the header or
So
yeah.
here, okay. So here we are using that SAS, right? We can defining the colors in the top of the files. We can defining that colors in the using that dollar some colors in variable. We are using the SAS. We can defining some all the colors. What are the things we are using the header color, footer color, some other colors. Wherever we have to use it, right? So if it is based on the dynamically based on the theme, we have to get just using the some kind using that based on the theme conditions. We have applied that colors, or else that we are user manually going to change the theme color. Just we have to update the colors in that root file. So we have to update here, or else we have to keep it in that dynamic in that backend side. So based on the theme, so we can keep it the theme or like the backend should be given the theme name. So based on the theme, we have to apply the colors.
Okay, okay. So finally, last question. So performance related questions. So we have like a number of huge records in the data table. So material table by default load all the records. So I don't want to
Yeah.
load all the records. So I want to customize each page. Like whenever user click next page, then load the 10 records. Another next page will load 10 records. I want to show 10 records only. So don't it to all the records get the records from backend. So I want to get it only 10 records only. Then
So
what are
you
the
click
what
that
are the necessary
next page
parameters?
that time.
Yeah, go ahead, go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. So if you click on that the next button or that page two, that time you have to call that API to get that
Yeah.
next 10 records,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. I don't
Okay.
want to load all the
So
records. Yeah.
yeah, okay. That's we have to pass the two arguments, right? A page and how many records should be showing in the page based on that in the back end. So I am clicking on the page two. So the page two should be showing that 10 records. So I am passing that page two that parameters along with that how many records. So based on that, user can get the can write the query for that select using that. Bit, I think there is that I'm not sure that I forget that query. So they based on the query they can using that limit something they can fetch the data like that page to this we have the 10 records so we can 0 to 10 and 11 to 10 20 and 21 to 30 like that they can getting the providing the data from the backend so we can show it in the UI level.
Okay, good. Okay, Raja. So, are you faced any like difficulties in your projects? So, how would you rectify?
So, like difficulties, we have faced the same difficulties in the previous projects while we are using that Angular material.
Okay.
So, in that projects, that lot of data, same thing, a lot
Okay.
of data we have maintained.
Mhm.
So, say, there is that four tabs. In the four tabs, we have maintaining that bulk data.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but initially, our architectures define the structure to load all the data.
Mhm.
So, we are following the same structure because we are not able to anything doing that after the architecture designs.
Mhm.
So we can follow the same things while we are moving the end of the application, maybe at the end of the application. So we have faces some issues. They load all the data. That time browser taking the too much of memory. So
Mhm.
browser cache memory is increased.
Mhm.
That time automatically the application should be going to slow down.
Okay. Okay.
So finally we have to check it out. So it should be avoid to loading all the data. That's the same way we are using the lazy loading to check based on that lazy loading. We have taken the data from that one by one.
Okay. 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 Good, Raja. So anyway, you completed my interview. So you want to ask anything?
No, Mason,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
And give you
thanks
some
for your
ideas
time.
about that.
So I will
And give
share.
that one
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
for
Good.
that.
Okay.
For the language, I think that should be fine for me. So I will check it out. I don't aware of that one right now for the
Okay.
multiple language.
Okay. Okay.
So thanks for that info,
Yeah, yeah,
Namaste.
yeah. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day. So I will give feedback to Rajesh. Maybe
Okay.
he will contact with you.
Yeah, okay, Namaste.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, yeah. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah.
Bye.